Despite the challenges presented by the pandemic, South Carolina has emerged as a shining example of resilience and economic vitality, solidifying its position as a leader in growth and entrepreneurship within the Southeast. While numerous factors contribute to this momentum, the path forward is not without its obstacles. We are happy to welcome back the President and CEO of SC Chamber of Commerce, Bob Morgan. Bob, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you.
So I do want to talk to you about what would you say are the primary factors contributing to this continuous growth that we're seeing here in South Carolina?
Some numbers came out last week. South Carolina exported more than $37 billion last year at a time when the national number is in decline. That's a record number for us. And so South Carolinians are great at making things. We have wonderful assets like our interstates, the port, that connect us to the global economy. And so planes and cars and all kinds of other products. We're part of the global economy, and we have a highly productive workforce that's propelling us forward.
And I do want to ask, what would you say are the biggest sectors that are driving this economic growth?
Automotive is a key part, and then all that goes into that. Aerospace is a big part of it. We continue to see agriculture contributes significantly to our overall growth, but also to the exports that we see.
And now the numbers speak for themselves. We are seeing continuous economic growth, but I do feel like some residents aren't necessarily feeling that themselves in their pockets. Why is that?
Well, there's some macro issues relating to inflation, which is related to higher interest rates, and businesses are being affected by that. Again, that's a national issue. The cost of living still in South Carolina, but for the cost of insurance, which is higher here than in most other states, from issues we've talked about before, lawsuit reform and tort reform, but our attractive cost of living is very helpful.
And now, what strategies would you implement to ensure that South Carolina stays competitive in the realm of people moving here and businesses wanting to come here?
There's some things we can do around tax reform to be a little more competitive with the states around us. We continue to invest significantly in workforce, and assets like the technical college system are a great asset to our employers. We are very good in South Carolina at attracting manufacturers, and we have great economic development incentives for manufacturers. We could be more competitive as it relates to white collar and headquarters type jobs. We've got the Darla Moore School of Business in Columbia that is one of the best international business schools anywhere. More of the kids that graduate there end up in Charlotte, Atlanta, Raleigh. We have a brain drain of talent, and the more we can do from a tax policy perspective to attract those entrepreneurial type companies, to keep that those bright folks here in South Carolina, will grow even more than we are currently.
And now, in what ways can individuals and businesses benefit and contribute to this continued economic growth that we're seeing in South Carolina?
Oh, wow. An issue that's a challenge for us, our labor force participation rate is only 57% versus a national average of 63%. We have 80,000 jobs that are unfilled right now. And so there's tremendous opportunity both for people who are already here to go and fill those jobs, but also those job openings will continue to attract others coming in from elsewhere.
Why is that? People are constantly moving here. It's a very fast-growing state. Why do we have so many empty jobs?
Well, when we listen to our employers, child care is one of the major barriers to folks entering or coming back into the workplace. It's the cost, it's the capacity, it's the quality or lack thereof. It's the workforce development shortage. You can't find enough workers, teachers, to go in and teach those kids, which makes it harder for other parents of young children to have a place for their kids to go while they go take a job. And so we've been engaged. The legislature has an ad hoc committee on child care. We're actively engaged with them, trying to see what are businesses doing already to help their employees, what are other states doing from a policy perspective. Don't know if it'll be this year, could be next year, but I think we'll see some action out of the legislature around child care as one of the ways to tackle that low labor force participation rate.
And now this was, continued economic growth was one of the top 5 points in the competitiveness agenda for this year. So what do you hope to see from 2024?
Well, so much of what happens in the legislature is all about the budget. And so far, what we've seen coming from the House side, major investments in workforce development, continued investment in the workforce scholarships through the technical college system, a continued reduction in the personal income tax rate that was begun 2 years ago, significant raises in starting teacher pay, significant infrastructure investments. We, because of some of the federal relief money and the infrastructure money, the government has been able to accelerate some of the major interstate projects. We still have a major shortfall as it relates to the repair and replacement of bridges. And don't know the amount, but it'll be in the couple hundred of millions of dollars that ultimately, hopefully, emerges in the state budget for this year.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we hope to have you back at the end of the year, and we can talk about how it did make the state budget for this year.
Great. Great.
Bob Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're back after this.